If you grew up playing N64, there's a pretty good chance you played Goldeneye. Back in the day, this was one of my favorite games of all time. And a big part of that is how unreal it felt when it first came out. I seriously can't stress enough how wild it was going from a flat 2D world to suddenly being dropped into these fully immersive 3D environments. And it felt like it kind of happened almost overnight. It was a massive jump. And I really think that you had to live through it to truly understand how big this moment was in gaming. As a kid, I remember being fully immersed into these levels. And it wasn't just the gameplay of the action or the fact that I loved the movies. What stuck with me is how a game dropped you into these places and made you feel like you were actually there in a part of the world. Like you were really a spy moving through a real environment. And even back then, I was fascinated with the little forgotten parts of the levels. And that all really stayed with me over the years. Everything from the towers, the edges of the levels, the water you couldn't reach, the small little hidden, sometimes meaningless areas. And of course, areas of the map that you could see through the fog into the distance, but didn't really know what they were. I always wondered about them every time I played. And something I used to do as a kid, and I'm not sure if everyone did this, but I would clear out all the enemies in the level and then just walk around and explore. So while some of you more skilled players were beating the game on 00 Agent, I was just walking around exploring empty levels. I think I just wanted to see the level without people shooting at me, and just slow down and walk through. So today I wanted to do the same thing. Clear out the very first level in the game, and take a little walk through Dam once again. Let's get into it. So first things first, we have to clear out the level. Loading into this map still hits me with all the nostalgia. Seeing that PP7 silence pop up brings me instantly back. And as I'm clearing out the enemies, it's really funny how fast your muscle memory comes back. Along with the fact that I've completely memorized this map. And quick note, if you're wondering why it looks so clean, this is the remake on Xbox. It actually stays pretty true to the original game, just has some updated visuals, which is awesome. Once I finally wiped out the last enemy, the level is finally quiet. The music stays the same, but the level's empty and now free for me to just roam around. I would always walk back to the very beginning first. I used to do this every time. I do remember wondering what this metal gate was for. Is this how you got into the level? Or is this how the truck came through in the first place? I honestly don't remember, and I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so maybe I'm due for a rewatch there. Maybe that's what happened in the movie. What really impressed me back then was the little design and details. Little places that you could hide, little corners you could peek around, how you could sneak around the levels. And of course, the verticality of these towers might seem like nothing now, but back in the day they felt huge. Being able to climb up them and look down at enemies was something I really hadn't experienced before. And yeah, this might be kind of weird, but I always loved shooting out this glass. That sound, the animation, felt amazing back then, it still kind of does. And then there was this tunnel. I always tried to see if I could climb up the sides. Maybe I can get out and start walking around the mountains in the snow, but never worked. Never stopped me from trying though. Sadly, you couldn't jump in this game. I would always shoot and explode all the boxes. Sometimes I thought there might be extra guns or secret guns, or maybe some hidden body armor there. There never was. And then there were these red boxes. They really stood out to me. Why was this one red and the others aren't? I always thought there was some secret behind this, or maybe there could be some hidden items in here as well. But again, nothing. These are just some of the things you kind of notice when you slow down and walk around an empty level like I did. Again, I destroyed every box, I looked around every corner, I searched every room. I was convinced there had to be something hiding in the level somewhere. Side note, even the bullet holes felt pretty cool. I remember I used to try to write my name on the walls. Eventually the bullet holes disappear, probably due to hardware limitations, but still, pretty fun. And I really wish this was a multiplayer map. I remember used to going down to these bunkers thinking, man, it would have been awesome to have a battle here, from tower to bunker. Or just in these long sight lines. Having this cover, having this sight line would have been really, really fun. I definitely would have been the person here camping with the sniper rifle, setting up proximity mines all through the tunnel. The security doorway always fascinated me too. One door closes, the next one's opens. To me, it was always just a little weird moment in time. I don't know, really hard to describe the memory of this little spot in the map, but it just feels like you're stuck in this tiny space for a second. Looking back, it's really nothing, but felt a little bit immersive at the time. I would also try to get in the truck. I always wondered, could I drive this truck? Could I just get into it and start driving it around the level? Could I hide in the back? Could I jump in the back and start sneaking up on enemies? Was there someone inside the truck? I always thought, hey, it was moving around. Someone must have been driving it, right? Could you shoot that person? You can't do any of that, but once again, never stopped me from trying and exploring. And then there's the dam itself. This is the part that really stuck with me, mainly because the sightline is huge, and you have all the mountains in the distance. The scale of everything and the atmosphere of this felt massive. Even the water. This was another early experience with 3D water for me, and it just felt kind of huge. At the time, this was probably the biggest body of water I've ever seen in a game. I would just stand here staring at it. Wish I could swim, or maybe find a boat to ride around in, or just see what was out there. Climbing these towers was another huge moment for me. The sightlines again were so long, you could actually shoot from it and hit some of the guards on these towers way down the end of the dam. And it felt like the distance was massive, like you were in this huge world. Again, this was one of my first shooters, so all of this felt so new. I'd walk here to the end of the dam too, always wondering what was behind this wall. I know there's nothing there, but back then I'd shoot it, I'd try to glitch through it, I'd do whatever I could. I tried a bunch of things just hoping there was more behind it, but again, definitely can't get outside of it. Then you have the down below area. These tight hallways always felt intense during the mission, but once you're down there, they just felt kind of empty and a little strange. This server room especially. I always thought you could maybe interact with the computers, access something, or do anything other than shoot it. You can't, so I end up just destroying everything in the room. It's really funny, even the chairs explode. There's even a little window up here with light dropping in. I always wish you could sneak down and jump in and surprise the enemies from down here. Don't think that you can access this from outside, or at least I never found it. Walking through this entire map again brought back a ton of memories. Not just about how the level looks, the hidden little areas, but how I felt when I first played it. I know a lot more about games now. How maps are designed, where the boundaries are, and what was actually possible on the hardware back in these days, but games from this time had a special kind of magic to them. I mostly attribute it to the fact that these 3D worlds were so new to me. And even now, to this day, still knowing there's something beyond these edges, the feeling that I'm talking about, it's still there. And all the memories are still very real to me too. Just walking through and talking about it all again, it just feels like a quiet trip back in time. Maybe I'm just someone who's overly sentimental about games from this time period. And maybe no one else ever did stuff like this, and I'm just a weird one. But I feel like some of you out there might relate to the feelings I'm talking about. And then of course there's this one memorable area of the map that I haven't talked about yet. This little island. I spent so much time trying to get over there. Walking the docks, looking for a way across. Again, thinking I could glitch out the exit of the dam. It feels like there's something there. There seems to be a structure, a Gatling gun, and I've read a lot about this island over the years. It's kind of a legend in this game. But that's a hidden save for another day. This is Hidden Saves, a channel about unlocking old memories and figuring out why some games just stuck with us. If this one unlocks something for you, feel free to hit subscribe or drop a comment, and let me know what forgotten memory we should dig up next. Catch you in the next one.